Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to XJW Diaries, where we can talk about life as a Jehovah's Witness and as an ex-Jehovah's Witness. My name is Justin, and this is diary entry number 5. Are Jehovah's Witnesses a cult? Part 2. So in part 1, we used the bite model to see if Jehovah's Witnesses fit into a professional view of a modern day cult. And if you watched that video, and especially if you looked at the bite model yourself, I think it's clear witnesses fit into that model pretty well. One of the many reasons that I started this channel in the first place is to help promote the idea of self-empowerment, which is something that we were definitely not encouraged to have as witnesses. And in a lot of ways, we were actually discouraged. It's all about one word: control. And if there's anything that sets a normal religion or community apart from a cult, it's the amount of control that they have over their members. So for this video, we're going to look at a few ways and examples that the Watchtower holds control over its members' lives and mindset. And then at the end, you can decide for yourself if the Jehovah's Witnesses are a cult or just a simple religion. Now, one interesting thing I noticed when I was editing part 1 was just how often I said the words, "the organization." I think even that kind of says a lot. Let me say one more thing before we get started. I want to share a quote with you. And this is a quote that definitely applies to this video, and it really applies to a lot of things in life. So if you only watch this one video from me, and you only watch up to this point, at the very least, take this with you. You ready? Here's the quote. "The truth does not mind being questioned. A lie hates being challenged." Sit with that for a bit. So the first area of control is the ability to disagree. I want you to think back to November 2020. Something big was happening in the United States, and I'm not talking about the pandemic either. It was the election. One of the most emotionally charged and controversial elections that I've ever seen in my life. But here's the thing. You had a lot of people who were diehard Democrats, and yet they were still able to disagree with some of what Biden was saying and some of his actions. Just as you had diehard Republicans who could still disagree with some of the things that Trump was saying and some of his actions. Even outside of politics, you have diehard Catholics that disagree with some of the things that the Pope has said and some of their policies. Look, the ability to disagree is part of what makes us human. It's certainly a part of what has pushed humanity forward in many ways, and it's absolutely a big part of self-empowerment. But the ability to disagree is something that Jehovah's Witnesses definitely do not have when it comes to the Watchtower organization and its doctrine, policies, and views. Straight from the horse's mouth, the July 2017 Watchtower said this, and I quote, "Be determined to stick to Jehovah's organization and loyally support the leadership he provides, no matter what imperfections may surface." Another Watchtower quote reads this, "All of us must be ready to obey any instructions we may receive, whether these appear sound from a strategic or human standpoint or not." Really think about those words. That's a lot of power. Everything the organization does, every view they have, every policy change, everything they do must be 110% supported. No room for disagreement. Real life example for you. Right now, the Jehovah's Witnesses have a 2-witness rule, which has gotten them a lot of bad press and lawsuits. This is because there have been many reports of young children, and this is worldwide by the way, being sexually abused by a fellow member of the Jehovah's Witnesses. But since there is no other person present to witness the abuse, that child is never given justice, and in most cases, the child is not even given counseling or some sort of means to help them heal from what they went through. The child is told to forgive and trust that God will sort everything out in due time. In most cases, and this can be fact-checked in several Jehovah's Witness lawsuits and the ARC, the parents are told to not go to the police, since it would, quote, "bring reproach on Jehovah's name and give a bad witness." So let's break this down. The pedophile goes free. The child gets no help. The organization tells its members that these reports of child sexual abuse are lies, and that Jehovah's organization abhors these things, and they will never change their two-witness rule. And you as a witness, you don't have the ability to disagree. In fact, for reasons I'll get to later in the video, you probably don't even know that there is a major child abuse issue within the organization. If you do disagree with the two-witness rule, and especially if you voice those disagreements to other witnesses, you will find yourself in a judicial committee on grounds of apostasy, which could result in you getting disfellowshipped. And this two-witness rule doesn't just impact witnesses either. Remember, what are witnesses known for more than anything else? Knocking on doors to spread their message. And many of those doors that they are knocking on have young kids on the other side. But you're not allowed to disagree. And the two-witness rule is just one of many things all witnesses must agree with. As a Jehovah's Witness, you must agree with the fact that you have to turn in a monthly field service report, even though there is no biblical reason. In fact, you could say the Bible actually discourages showing your works. You must agree with the organization's financial choices, which lately include selling off a lot of kingdom halls, some of which are sold to other religious groups. Kind of suspect, right? You must agree with the doctrine changes, like the overlapping generation. Never met a witness that could explain that one. And as a parent, especially with small children, you must agree with and support the content said from the stage at meetings and printed in magazines and books. There is no Sunday school set up for the witness kids to do projects and to hear stories appropriate for their age. Which means as a Jehovah's Witness parent of a 3 or 4-year-old child, for example, your child is exposed to various sexual terms and violent stories along with detailed, frightening pictures depicting the end of the world. There are things said at meetings in front of children and printed in Jehovah's Witness books that if I were to say them in this video, YouTube would flag this video as mature content and restrict viewership. Think about that. And there's countless other things that as a witness you have no power to disagree with. Really think about how much control that is. As a Jehovah's Witness, you're required to support everything the organization says and does, no matter how odd or unethical it is. You have to be fully on board. So now let's move on to how the Watchtower controls the worldview of its members. Let's talk about race for a second. I know it's not a fun subject, but let's talk about it. When I was 13 years old, my mom sat me down for a talk. In this talk, she told me the honest truth about race. She said at my age, I was beginning the process of changing from a young black boy into a young black man. And with that change, some people may be afraid of me, or feel uncomfortable around me, or have lower expectations of me. It sucks. But the fact is, stereotypes exist, and they can infect our minds and influence our actions, sometimes without us even noticing. But then there's the people who are just plain racist. It's not the stereotypes, it's nothing I did to them. It's simply just a prejudice and feeling of superiority. Now I say all this because I know how it feels to be on the wrong side of cultural racism. And the sad fact is, as a witness, I held a very similar prejudiced view towards quote-unquote worldly people. As a witness, we were taught to be spiritually racist. Worldly people cannot be trusted. Worldly people cannot really love you. Worldly people are cut off from Jehovah's blessings. Worldly people will lead you away from God. Worldly girls are promiscuous cheaters. Worldly men are abusive alcoholics. You can't trust a worldly business partner. Don't leave your wallet out at a worldly event. A quote from the Watchtower reads, "You must also be on guard against extended association with worldly people." Do you see a pattern there? Check this out. Take everything that I said and replace that word worldly with any ethnic group. Would you even be able to say that out loud in public? I don't think so. Now do you see what I mean? Spiritually racist. You are told that people who are not Jehovah's Witnesses have no morals, no connection to God, and no hope. Unless, of course, they become a Jehovah's Witness. As a witness, you must accept and adopt the organization's view of anyone who is not a witness. And you must further hold the belief that anyone who is not a witness will be destroyed along with the rest of the system. Of course, the witness's negative view of the world is not just limited to the people, it's also the entire system. As a witness, you are required to believe that the outside world is ruled by the devil and it deserves destruction. Only God has the power to fix the world's issue. You are to stand back and basically watch the world fall, holding tight to the belief that the worse things get, the closer we are to the end. This is why Jehovah's Witnesses are not encouraged, and in fact are often discouraged in many cases, from doing charity work, to help out third world countries, or to get involved with projects to help slow down climate change. Now, I'm a little embarrassed to say this, but here's some of my truth. As a Jehovah's Witness, sometimes I watch the news and actually hope that something bad was going to happen. Why? Because I was subconsciously told to believe that the faster things get worse, the faster things can get better, and we can be in paradise. So I would actually watch the world hoping that, actually I'm not even going to finish that sentence. But the point is this: that's a strange way to exist in life. Very strange way to hope that something bad is going to happen. And you know what? I wasn't the only one. So now let's talk about control of beliefs. First, think about this. In the United States alone, there's an estimated 200 plus Christian denominations. And worldwide, that number jumps up to over 40,000. All of these denominations use the same Bible, maybe a different translation, but overall, same book. And all of them believe that they have the truth based on their interpretations of the Bible. As a witness, you are required to believe that only the Jehovah's Witness interpretation of the Bible is correct, and only they have the truth. Everything else is considered false religion and fit to be destroyed along with the rest of the world. You are required to believe that God chose them to be his organization, and that they are the only path to God. Therefore, if you leave them, you leave God. You're required to believe that celebrating holidays like Christmas and Easter, or celebrating your birthday, will be bad because of the pagan origins of those holidays, even though your average Jehovah's Witness wedding still includes a bride with a white dress, bridesmaids, and the exchange of wedding rings, all of which, guess what, have pagan origins. You are required to believe that the disfellowshipping arrangement is loving discipline from God, even though disfellowshipping does not appear in the Bible. And of course, a major belief that all witnesses must support is that of the blood doctrine, which forbids receiving a blood transfusion, even if it is the only way of survival. This has unfortunately cost the lives of countless witnesses, including children. As a Jehovah's Witness, you are told what to believe and required to accept those beliefs. It does not matter if you fully understand those beliefs, or even if those beliefs make sense when you take everything into context. All that matters is total and complete acceptance. Just like every Christmas Eve, millions of kids around the world accept the belief that a large man in a red suit will climb down their chimney and bring them gifts, even if their house doesn't have a chimney. They may not understand that belief, but it was told to them by their parents, a figure of authority, and therefore they accept that belief. Likewise, the witnesses have no choice but to accept any and all beliefs given to them by their authority figure, the Watchtower and the governing body. Now, if you do not accept the witnesses' beliefs, and especially if you adopt another religion's beliefs, by now you already know what will happen to you. Now, there are several more ways that the witnesses control their members, but now let's talk about some ways the witnesses maintain that control. The first way the Watchtower ensures continued control is that Jehovah's Witnesses are not allowed to research the organization. This is a little ironic because witnesses constantly tell other people who belong to other religions to research their religion. Even more ironic, when a witness meets a person from another religion who shows some interest in what the witnesses are teaching, they will often do hours of research on that person's religion so that they are studied up for the next visit. However, when it comes to witnesses doing research on their own religion, they are only allowed to use publications put out by the Watchtower organization. So again, it comes to being told what to believe. You're only allowed to research your beliefs by using publications that were put out by the same organization that told you those beliefs, without ever getting an outside opinion. Now, to go along with that, let's talk about the fact that witnesses are not allowed to view any content that is critical of the organization. This is why your average witness has no idea that there's a serious pedophile issue within the organization. Jehovah's Witnesses are only ever allowed to see one side of things, which prevents them from ever accurately being able to make an informed decision. The organization views any critical information as an attack and a tool used to deceive its members. A quote from the organization reads, "Do not be quickly shaken from your reason when faced with what appears to be damaging attacks by apostates or other such deceivers of the mind, however plausible their charges may seem." Deceivers of the mind. Very interesting choice of words there, isn't it? So in plain English, even when the witnesses are very clearly in the wrong, don't listen. If a news article or show comes on that even appears to attack the witnesses, they are to turn it off immediately. And of course, that same mindset also applies to anything coming from former members of the Jehovah's Witnesses, aka apostates. In the Watchtower's own words, they say, "It would be a mistake to think that you need to listen to apostates or read their writings to refute their arguments. Their twisted, poisonous reasoning can cause spiritual harm and can contaminate your faith like rapidly spreading gangrene." Wow. Now, when it comes to how the organization views their members doing research, viewing critical content, and listening to apostates, I want you to think about this. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a big fan of Tesla. I think they're a really cool car brand, really pushing things forward. But imagine this. Imagine you go to your local Tesla dealer. You test drive a car, you love it. But let's face it, buying a car is a big decision, especially one that costs $50,000+. So you tell the dealer that you want to sleep on it, think things over, and do some research. And the dealer tells you the following: you should only do research on Tesla.com. All other sources of information are unreliable. On our website, you will get the best and most accurate information on our cars. Don't trust other websites or watch any video reviews because those people have inaccurate information that will just throw you off. Also, definitely don't listen to anything from a former Tesla owner. Everything they say is a lie and they just want to make us look bad. Keep in mind, time is running out, so if you don't get one right now, you may not be able to. Also, once you get a Tesla, you can only hang out with other people who also have a Tesla. We will help you find those new friends. Oh, and if you ever decide to upgrade your car to one that's not a Tesla, you will be shunned by all current Tesla owners. Now I ask you, would you buy that car? Because even me as a big Tesla fan, I would walk right out. If a company needs that much control over me, they don't need my business. Now in that example, you're being asked to spend $50,000. And realistically, one way or another, you can make that back. But with the witnesses, you're being asked to spend your life, your time, that you can never get back. Shouldn't you be able to do some research? Now obviously there's countless more ways that the witnesses control the lives of their members. But just in this video, we've seen how they take away your ability to disagree, they control your worldview, they control what you believe, they control how and what you research, they ban you from viewing anything that speaks negatively about them, and they control how you view former members. And if you disagree with any of that, well, my friend, you cannot be in the club. Now, does all of that make Jehovah's Witnesses a cult? Well, that's not for me to say. That's for you to use your critical thinking and decide for yourself. But one thing is for sure, the witnesses do have a lot of power over their members' lives and mindset. To really illustrate the amount of power, think about this. Imagine at the next meeting, God itself appears and says, "You are in the wrong religion. Leave as fast as you can." How many witnesses in that audience do you think would stand up? Or would they all think that they are being deceived? That's a lot of power. In closing, I'll say this. If you want to be a witness, cool. Be one all the way. That means being one with the knowledge of how much control they have over your life and over your mindset and over your worldview. That means being one with the knowledge of the child abuse cases and the lawsuits that are going on worldwide. That means being one with the full knowledge of the history of the organization, all the way back. Knowing about 1914, Beth Serene, all that stuff that's kept hidden. Research your organization the same way that you tell other people that you meet in the ministry to research theirs. Research it all the way. And after you've done that, just sit down with it for a second and really ask yourself if this is an organization that you feel fully comfortable being a part of. And furthermore, if this is an organization that you feel fully comfortable bringing other people into. In my case, after doing that deep research and really seeing what I was involved in, really seeing how much control they had over my life, really seeing how their policies and the environment was negatively impacting me mentally and emotionally, I knew that I could no longer be a member of that organization. And I also knew that I could no longer, with a good conscience, tell other people to join that organization. Even though it meant leaving my friends behind, and there's not a day that goes by that I don't miss my friends. And even though it meant leaving a job behind, where I really liked what I was doing, and it was really fulfilling to me. But you know what? It's all okay. Because since leaving, I've become a happier person, I've become a better person, and I've been able to grow into my true, fully authentic self. And that's worth it. Again, the truth does not mind being questioned, but a lie hates being challenged. So keep challenging everything that you're told is the truth and see what comes out of it. So as usual, I thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thank you for your time. Please hit the like button if you liked it. Please hit the subscribe button if you loved it. Share this with your friends. I got a whole bunch more stuff on the way. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay tuned.